Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll be going through my tips for round 20 and reviewing how I went 9 for 9 in round 19, sorry. And yeah, a lot of people didn't go 9 for 9, obviously, and top 1%. So yeah, another really good round. My third perfect round for the year, which from last year, don't remember if I did go perfect in any round. I don't think I did. So going a third perfect round is just really good. Looking through here, did I pick any real upsets? Don't think I actually did, really. No, I don't think I did. It was quite an easy round, I think, to actually tip, per se. Maybe the Port Adelaide Collingwood game was an upset. Maybe you could say the Swans beating Freo at Optus Stadium was a little bit an upset. But yeah, I think they were pretty easy games to tip. I guess you could say, obviously, the Western Bulldogs vs Essendon game was a little bit of an upset, but I wouldn't say it was too bad of an upset. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, as this should be uploaded 2 or 3 p.m, I believe, and then you've got the round 20 preview, which it should be a pretty quick video. I mean, there isn't much to go through there. It was a pretty obvious trade for me to trade in. And that will be a quick video on Friday. And I don't know if I'll probably record some things on Saturday, but we'll wait and see on that front. I mean, it does impact me that the Ashes is on, so my sleep schedule is a little bit off, and I like to record in the morning. But hopefully I'll be able to record stuff next week as well. That should help with getting a new series up and about on the channel. So before we get into the video, wrong button. Before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe and turn the notification bell on. If I haven't already done that, I've already forgotten. But anyway, onto these picks. As I said, as you can see here, 31 points the margin with Essendon and Western Bulldogs I predicted, and the margin was 41, so I was 10 points off with that. Not a bad tip, actually. One of my better first game margin tips of the year. I did say Richmond by 28 in this game, and they won by 1. I mean, if they didn't fall apart in the first couple of quarters, this would have actually been on brand. But a 27-point gap in that tip is a little bit off, but at least I got the tip right. Carlton, I said by 61, and they won by 71. So that is actually a really good tip, considering the wide margin of games that Eagles have played in. I mean, they lost to St Kilda by 35. They lost to Swans by 170. I'm pretty sure they lost to someone else by... I can even look here. So obviously, lost to Carlton by 71, lost to Richmond by 38, that's what it was, lost to Brisbane by 81, lost to St Kilda by 8, and lost to the Swans by 171. So they've almost had a bad week, good week, bad week, good week. So we'll wait and see what they provide this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a slightly better performance. Brisbane, I said by 16. They ended up winning by 11, so I was 5 points off there. So I'm a combined 52 points through 4 games so far, which actually isn't that bad, considering that Richmond was a 1-point victory. If that was a more pronounced victory, I would be about 25 points off. Then I said the Swans by 17, and they ended up winning by 29, so only 12 points off there, only 2 goals. And they ended up kicking a goal after the siren as well by Heaney. So that could have been 99 to 76, which would have been 23 points, which would have been just a singular goal. Collingwood, I said by 10. They ended up winning by 2, so still 10 points again. The third tip this round that's been 10 points off. So again, that was also a pretty good tip. I predicted GWS by 15, and they ended up winning by 40. So that's 25 off, so a bad tip there. I don't think, looking back on it, since I think around 13 or something like that, GWS is 6-1. So maybe I could have used that data to say GWS at home were going to win this by maybe 25 or something rather than 15. But I don't think that was necessarily a bad tip. Melbourne by 4 points. I had predicted them by 23, so that was 19 off. Not the worst tip, but also I think that was... Adelaide did come back in the last quarter. I think they were down by about 15 going into the last. So for them to come back, I think was testament to how good of a side they are. They're actually a really good side, even though they are 13th. They've basically been rotten by losing to Melbourne, I think Brisbane as well, Ports, and I think Collingwood. They've lost, I think, 6 games by under a goal basically to those top 4 sides, and those 6 games have warranted them down in 13th. They will probably miss out on finals, but I don't think it's as bad as people think. I do think they are a really, really good side, and I think next year you will see Adelaide in the top 8 just because of the output that they're getting from a lot of their young stars, which should translate to more, at least from a couple of them, more output next year. I said St Kilda by 41. They ended up winning by 8. But I'm not too disappointed in this tip. They were just shocking the first 3 quarters against North. And so 33 off on that tip, which puts me 27, 37, 47, 52, 64, 74, 99, 118, 151 off for the round, which isn't actually that bad. For 9 tips, 9 correct tips, 151 isn't that bad. And now we move on to the round 20 tips. I somehow made that 6 minutes into the video without even getting to the next round tips. Carlton Collingwood tomorrow night. I'm going to go with Collingwood, I think, in this game. It's a tough game, and Carlton have been really, really good. So I think it's actually going to be a really, really good, high-quality game. I wouldn't be surprised if Carlton are ahead at 3/4 time. But I think you got to tip in this game and go with the crowd. And I think I'm going to tip Collingwood by 17 points. I think that's a fair prediction. I do think that Carlton have Cripps in doubt, which could probably push this out to 25 points. But I also think that Collingwood don't blow these types of tough teams away. They usually win by within 2 or so goals. So I think 17 points is a little bit, I think, is the right around margin that could occur. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 5-point game. I also wouldn't be surprised if Carlton bring out Charlie Curnow, who kicks 8 or 9 against Collingwood type view, but I do think he will be stopped by Darcy Moore, so that's why I'm saying that Collingwood would win this game. Geelong versus Freo, even with Geelong's injuries and stuff like that, I do think that they beat Freo. Wouldn't be surprised if Cameron and Hawkins combine for 8 or something like that. I haven't seen I've looked at the injury report and don't think I saw anyone from Geelong out, as well as the fact that Freo have Darcy out as well, who I think is influential in there, in creating a midfield that's actually pretty strong with Brayshaw, O'Meara and Sarong as well as Darcy. But Jackson coming in should hurt it a little bit, but not terribly much, and that's why I do think that Geelong will run over this game. I do think they'll win by 34 points. As I do think they'll get a strong performance in this game. Western Bulldogs versus GWS, and this is a tough game to predict. Western Bulldogs, who do they beat? They beat Essendon pretty convincingly, lost to the Swans, lost to Collingwood, and beat Freo, whereas what's GWS done? GWS beat Gold Coast, GWS beat Adelaide, GWS beat Hawthorn, GWS beat Melbourne. I'm going to go out on a limb and say GWS win this game. I think that they're a little bit stronger than Western Bulldogs at the moment, and it's basically Bont and English carrying this Western Bulldogs side, whereas GWS, I think they're getting a lot of output from, in the last couple of weeks at least, from Whitfield. They're getting a lot from Cogs, Kelly. I think also you'll see English won't get as good output as he's playing a full-time ruckman in Briggs rather than part-timers in the Swans outfit, as well as they played Essendon, who had a rookie ruckman. So I do think that GWS are going to win this game. I'm going to say GWS by 14, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is the swing game of the round. Brisbane against Gold Coast. Brisbane is going to win this game. Gold Coast just look like they're in a mess at the moment, and Brisbane, they're playing up in Queensland. It should be fine. They're not playing up down at the MCG, so I think Brisbane win this game by, I'm going to say a blowout here and say 33 points. I do think that they will get on top and dominate. I think this is, it's a little bit biased in directly already picking the Swans, but I do think the Swans will have the hunger to return to the finals, and they'll get an upper position at least by winning against Essendon. They'll get a position close at least. Who do Richmond play? Richmond play Melbourne, so they could even jump into 2 positions up and jump up to 10th by the end of this round, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But I do think that they think that there still is a great chance that they can jump in here and into the finals race. So I do think you will see a fired up Swans outfit. I also think this is one of the last times that Buddy will be in Melbourne. I don't think he plays at the MCG again, or won't play at least in the home and away season, and they need to win 4 out of 5 to get to the final to see him play at the MCG potentially again. If that would take, there's not any MCG, that would take Carlton jumping into 5th or 6th for him to play at the MCG, unless they play their week 2 against a Melbourne or a potentially. It would be against a Melbourne. It would have to be against a Melbourne if the matchups are right, or else he'd have to play there in potentially against Collingwood. There's only 3 teams really there that play at the MCG, unless they don't give Marvel the matchup for the finals and play all the Melbourne games at the MCG. We'll have to wait and see. They might even play Geelong at the MCG, so that could be a shout actually now looking at it. But I do think the Swans win this game. I do think they will shut down Merritt and Parrish, and with a rookie ruckman with Draper and... Phillips did play last week, but I think Phillips is only useful with Draper there with him, not Brian. So I do think the Swans will dominate. I think they can break even in the ruck department, and then they can break even with the clearances, and they should be able to do well with their transition game. So I'm saying Swans by 19 points. I was going to say 16, but I think 19. Adelaide versus Port. This is going to be a good game. I wouldn't actually be surprised if Adelaide wins this. Port lost to Collingwood by 2 points, and you see Adelaide, they lost to, Collingwood, somewhere back here, it might have been here, by 2 points as well. So this is going to be a very, very tight encounter. Adelaide's at home, supposedly. You've got both Rochelle and Willie Rioli out. I think Rochelle has more of an impact. You've got Laird coming back as well, which I think does help Adelaide. Adelaide only just lost to Melbourne based on poor inaccuracy, and Port only lost to Collingwood based on poor inaccuracy. Port lost to Carlton as well the week before. I'm actually going out on a limb and saying Adelaide win this game. Port to lose 3 on the bounce, and then I think they play also... I want to say they also play Melbourne next week, or Brisbane up in Brisbane. And they're going to really, I think, struggle in this game. So I'm going to say Adelaide. I'm going to say Adelaide by 9 points. I think this will be an absolute thriller, and wouldn't be surprised if there's a goal late on to win this game. I don't think Port will kick the last. I think Adelaide will kick the last to win the game, or to put the game to bed almost. Hawthorn versus St Kilda. Oh, this is a tough game to pick. St Kilda just beat North. They lost to Gold Coast. They also lost to Melbourne. They beat West Coast, and they lost to Brisbane. Whereas the Hawks have lost to Richmond in a close game, beat North Melbourne, lost to GWS, lost to Carlton pretty convincingly, and lost to Gold Coast. I think you will see a St Kilda team pretty pissed off at their performance last week. So I think I'm going to predict St Kilda by... I think I'm going to say 24 points. I do think you will see Sicily and stuff have a good game, but I think you'll see Steele, Marshall, Crouch, and Sinclair all have a really good game for St Kilda, or at least Steele should. Steele will return to his best, as I think he'll try and will this St Kilda team on, and they only need 3 wins from their last 5 to get a finals place, so we'll wait and see with how that goes. You got Richmond, Melbourne. I think Melbourne win this game. Richmond only just got over the line against Hawks after playing 1 quarter of footy, and you cannot play 1 quarter of footy against Melbourne, as they beat a tough opposition. They beat tough opposition the last 3 weeks running. I mean, St Kilda were actually really good or decent in that game against Melbourne. So I think Melbourne win this game by 35 points, as this is I believe the last game with Nankervis out as well, which Gawn should dominate in the ruck. West Coast, North Melbourne, 17th versus 18th. Who do I think is going to win this game? I do think North Melbourne is the better side in general. I'm going to say North Melbourne by 23 points. I don't think this is not the last game with... This is the last game with Alistair Clarkson, I believe, not coaching. And could Ratton get a victory before he goes? I think he could. I think they sort of set this game up as hopefully Ratton's way to get a victory. Probably. Maybe. I don't necessarily think he'll ever coach again a side at the moment with the way North Melbourne have sort of plummeted, but I do think that this is a way that North can win a game, get up to 2 games behind Hawks, and see in the last 4 if they can gain ground and potentially snag 16th, but I don't think they will because they've got Melbourne and some others, and Hawks just need to win 1 more game to confirm 16th. So there are my predictions. Let me submit them, and then I will go back to the main screen. If I go back here, there we go. Those are my predictions, and that's pretty much the video there, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be my previews, my preview for my AFL fantasy team for round 20. Going through that should only be probably a 10 to 12 minute video. I don't think it'll be too long, as I sort of do a preview for when I do my round review, I guess, and also you pretty much know my trades already, so it doesn't really matter too much. But anyway, that's the video, and I'll see you guys in that next video tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.